Hey guys, Kyle Miller here with Mortgage Brokers Ottawa, the I Love Auto Real Estate podcast. Coming at you with another tip because it's something that came across my desk and I thought I'd share it out with everybody. Hopefully it helps somebody. So, big thing that we want to talk about today, sounds kind of obvious, but it maybe isn't to everybody, is just a four-letter word called math. Math can get you pretty much anywhere you want to go when you look at your mortgage, right? And what I mean by that is I've had more and more conversations recently with people, when we're going back and forth about how to get them where they want to go, right? If they want to save more interest, if they want to get the mortgage paid off earlier, going between accelerated bi-weekly versus monthly, all that stuff. And the one thing to know is that mathematically, you can always get to where you want to go just about, either one way or another, plenty of ways to do it. For example, the client who was looking at doing a deal and they wanted a specific rate, and that rate came with a lender who had a limitation on how you could actually pay the mortgage, right? Some lenders, to be honest, with certain products, you cannot do accelerated bi-weekly, right? And that might to some of you might say like, well, that's not cool, right? And that could be a deal breaker for you, right? Which means you would have to then pay maybe a higher interest rate. So with these guys, that's what it was. They're like, well, we want to pay bi-weekly. And I'm kind of like, well, you can't. And then they're like, well, but we want that rate. And I'm like, well, they're the only ones that offer that rate. So what are you going to give up? Do you want to take the lower rate, or do you want to take, a little bit higher rate and pay it bi-weekly? And they're like, well, if we don't pay bi-weekly, then it won't get paid off as fast enough. And I said, well, hold on a sec. Let's look at this, right? And the thing is, when you adjust things like your payment, making a little bit higher payment, making an extra payment, little things like that, you get to the same place, right? Accelerated bi-weekly. When you pay accelerated bi-weekly, you pay 26 times a year at a slightly higher rate, a slightly higher payment, I should say, and you essentially make 2 payments extra per year, right? Or 1 monthly payment, however you want to look at it. And that goes directly to principal, which pays off everything quicker. So a 25-year mortgage paid out over accelerated bi-weekly will typically take, an extra 2.5 years off your mortgage, 2.5, 3 years off your mortgage. So you're looking at paying it off in something like 17.5, kind of a thing. So when thinking like that, right, and you say, well, if they can't do that, then they're going to be paying so much longer and paying off so much interest. Not necessarily if they just make that extra month payment at the end of the year, right? So save 1 month's worth of money, dump it on the mortgage every year, and at the end of the 5 years, you're going to be in the same spot that you would have been had you done accelerated bi-weekly. Lots of times bi-weekly is really just a bonus because it's efficient and easy to do because you don't even think about it. Line it up with your pay date, pay goes in, mortgage goes out, lock and load, on to the next, right? Whereas doing this in this example with monthly, you physically would have to take care of that yourself, right? Which isn't hard to do if it's on your mind. And that's what I'm saying, where math can do everything like that. I had another client who actually called me. They were a past client, and they called me saying, hey, look, we'd like to fix our payment, and we want to know if we can push it back to 30 years, right, to what it would be at 30 years, because we want to lighten the load on ourselves a little bit. We may have bitten off more than we can chew. Okay, let's look if we can do that. Now, what happened was they started their mortgage at 25. They could have taken 30-year AM, but they took 25. Why? Because they wanted to pay it off quicker. Makes total sense. You're going to pay less interest for sure, but the physical payment is higher because you're paying it over a shorter period of time. Math, right? Now they want to go back to 30-year because the 25-year payment's a little too tight for them right now, right? Changed jobs, got a kid going on, there's EI involved now for a little while. Just want to lighten the load. Problem is, one of the rules, again, you can't go back past your original amortization on the mortgage without doing a full refinance, which brings on a whole new set of rules. So they can never go back past 25 years, which means they're never going to get to enjoy what a 30-year payment would have given them. So what can they do? Now there isn't probably much they can do. But originally what we could have said was, hey, look, let's go 30-year and let's bump your payment to what it would be if you paid on 25. Because that's why, if anything bad like this did happen, then you could roll it back to 30 pretty much without a problem. right? Now there are a couple little stipulations in there that may not get it exactly to 25 years, right? And that again, all comes down to math. We can figure out how we can even, get around that. But in general, that's one of those things where math can help save all that. Run it to the max so you get the lowest payment possible, and then crank it back up to what it would be like at 25 years. Once you start paying, you kind of forget that even happened, and you got this little safety net over here, right? That's the way it is. Just because you think that 25 years is what you want to do, because in your head nothing in your life is ever going to change for the next 25 years, and you're just going to pay it off, every 2 weeks, and that's just going to be that, and it's going to be that simple. Great. Probably not, but that's okay. So let's just set it up for the safety net, and we'll show you how to get that payment back to the right place, and you're still off to the races, but you got this little safety net over here. See what I mean? So it's all math. Things like amortization, interest rates, overpayments, payment frequency, it's all just mathematically possible to get you where you want to go. So think a little bit bigger picture and a little less like just right now in front of me, and you can definitely save yourself a whole bunch of heartache and potential trouble, and you may never need any of this. Ever. You may never need to change your payment ever. And if you don't, good for you. Most people don't. But good to know that we've got it structured and the possibilities there to save you if you do. So, hope that made sense. Basically just the big thing that math works, and when you do the math the right way, right, a lot of these problems and concerns can actually be alleviated, because mathematically speaking, it can all be adjusted the right way to get you to the same point. Right, get you the same goal line, get you across the finish line at the end. So, hope that helps. Might have been a little messy, but if you have any questions about that, as always, get me on my handles: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, email, phone. It's all there. And when you need something, give me a shout. We'll have a chat.